you're taking me out of my way. I know I curse like a sailor, but
I do too.
there's sometimes you just don't curse. And this one time was that. Hey, look, y'all. I'm only going by what the GPS, yo. No real shit.
Oh. What?
Fuck it. I quit.
Oh.
Like real shit? Really?
Wow.
Say you cussing?
Wow.
Trying to get my butt?
Yeah, this the man that holds it down. Mr. Showtime, D the Boss. Check us out every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Ladies, are you in need of the best quality hair extensions, a cute outfit, or that perfect pair of shades? Pink Ice products can cover you from head to toe, from flawless weaves to apparel. Visit us online at pinkiceproducts.bigcartel.com. We're located at 3000 Old Alabama Road, 119-303, Alpharetta, Georgia. Or give us a call at 470-488-6484. Come on in and check out Pink Ice products today.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monique, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back, family, to the Black by the Man radio show. We are sitting here discussing current events. This one is the Charlottesville, Virginia situation. Vice News labeled it as Race and Terror. I think that was an appropriate title because it did deal with race and it did deal with terror, terrorizing people. So these people consider themselves to be white supremacists, right?
Right.
So let's get the exact definition of white supremacy so people can understand. Okay, so this is Google. Google says that white supremacy is the belief that white people are superior to those of all other races, especially the black race, and should therefore dominate society. Now, what's up with especially the black race? Like, why did they feel the need to throw that in there? I thought they covered it with the definition of them thinking they're superior, but I noticed they put in there especially to the black race. So this is the exact definition of white supremacy.
So that's not our definition. That's what Google put up. Google put that up. Don't blame us. Don't blame us.
And we all know Google is reliable.
We don't blame.
It was on Google. I believe it. Yeah. Google and Facebook are my encyclopedias. Believe everything, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think they're out to achieve with the the Tiki Torch madness with their white supremacy? Like what was their goal? Does anybody even know what their goal was?
Just to show that they're there.
Just to be a nuisance.
Everybody know nuisance.
Yeah.
That's not a nuisance.
It's not a nuisance.
That's showing that that you're not gone.
Right.
That you're there. The same ideology you had in the 1960s, the 1970s is still there. It hasn't went away. That's what the message was.
So they must be experiencing a sense of fear.
Yeah.
That they are losing ground.
Fear and insecurity.
Right. Fearing that you're losing grounds, fearing that, they may end up becoming a minority.
Yeah. When in your southern states, when they have, and Robert Lee was probably one of many statues they plan on taking down. I think 3 or 4 statues they plan on taking down. When 3 or 4 of your history essentially is taken down, that means you're losing ground big time.
That's true. So let's get into these statues being taken down. Jason, what's your thoughts on the statues being removed? Like, I'll chime in and give my thoughts on it as well. But how do you feel about these statues being removed?
So you can't erase history.
True.
It's a part of history.
Right.
And I don't even think it even needs to go. It needs to be a reminder. It needs to be taught. Hey, this is what happened. Blah blah blah. But I don't think it needs to be in the public. I don't think symbols of racism and oppression need to be in the public square.
I agree, because it does make certain groups of people feel a certain way. It's almost a reminder. Yes. I remember seeing, and I think this was on Vice News as well, where they were talking about the statues. So one of the questions that the guy had asked was, well, where's the location of this particular statue that they were talking about?
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All right, what's up, family? Welcome to the Black by the Man radio show. I'm your boy, Brother Mike. I shall be your host on this day. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with us. And as usual, I want to welcome my co-host today, the lovely Miss Janice.
Good afternoon, everybody.
How you doing, Miss Janice?
Very well.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you.
How's everything going? Ooh. How's everything going for you?
Very well. Just been working on these 25 tips for.
From the last show.
28 song.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I gotta try to work on them too. You know what I mean? Like I'm being conscious about it. You know, working on them too. How was your weekend?
Weekend was really good.
Weekend was good.
Very busy.
Very busy.
But good.
That's a good thing, right? It's good to be
Great
busy.
job.
My weekend was cool, uneventful, as I like to say, but it was Gucci. You know what I mean? Gucci.
Let's see, anything eventful? No.
Over your weekend? I am going to sending out some invites to everybody so you guys can join in on the discussion with me and Miss Janice today.
I did do one of my weekend goals this weekend, though.
All right, talk to me.
I did the vegetarian weekend. So.
How'd you like it?
It was okay. I guess it was just a weekend, so it wasn't a big deal.
Right.
But I'm looking forward to like some salmon or something today.
Okay. You put your time in with the veggies, right?
Hey,
salmon's good though.
I said weekend goals.
Yeah, salmon's good. It's better than saying, a hamburger. So salmon will work.
So it wasn't too bad. And I mean, I didn't go for the whole vegan thing this weekend.
Right.
It's too soon, but
too soon.
I'll work my way into it.
Yeah, there you go. Take your time. Wean yourself in. Every little bit helps, So, anything that we do. I'm still going pretty strong with my vegetarian, / vegan approach on things here. I have vegan days. I have vegetarian days. Probably more vegetarian than vegan. Only because cheese. Like, right. I can't get away from cheese. Right. Cheese it's like dope. It's you can't get away from it. As a matter of fact, on the documentary What the Health, they literally said that it taps into the same, sensors in your brain that heroin does, just not at a level that strong, okay. But just enough to make you want it each and every day, each and every week, each and every month.
I mean, that's kind of harsh, but okay.
Yeah, that is, right? That's it. But, that was medical doctors. That's what they said. And they said that's why everybody, loves it so much.
I'll be doing my 30-minute walks a day.
How's that going?
That's going great. I'm eating like a couple pieces of fruit a day, so I'm trying a little healthy thing.
Healthy is good.
Yeah, I'm not a fruit person, though. I don't like fruits. I don't like vegetables.
Yeah, that seems to be the going trend amongst some of our people. No fruits and vegetables.
So.
I always like the what's the little spot up there in White Marsh beside the sushi spot where you get the little Chinese food with the chicken and the rice. And I'm always beside it getting sushi. So I always hear when they be asking people, you want vegetables? And majority of the black people be like, no. Extra meat? Yes, extra meat. And I'll just be over there chuckling.
I'm sure you saw me one of those days over there.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to point no fingers, but yeah, that might have been what drove the comment.
Yeah, I was one of the ones saying no.
Extra meat, no veggies.
Yes to meat, no to veggies.
But weekend was pretty good though, huh? Vegetarian thing kicking off.
Great.
You doing some of the 25 tips to have a beautiful year.
Right.
I really like that show.
Praying for my purpose every day.
Praying for your purpose every day. I enjoyed that. That was a really good show. My weekend was, pretty normal, uneventful. It's kind of, getting mentally prepared to come in here today and do the show.
Okay.
Because I love this, love talking to the audience and, getting involved.
I'm sure your audience loves you.
I hope so. Brother Mike loves y'all. I hope y'all love me. So what we talking about today? I thought today, we would go over, some of the behavior patterns that are developing amongst our young women. So when I say young women, I mean, the teenagers into, the 20s. Like I'm seeing some things that wasn't happening when I was younger.
Okay.
It's definitely been a change in behavior. So I thought we'd have a little discussion about that and see what we can come up with. But before we even get into that, it's so much going on in current events now.
Okay.
Right? So I'm like, okay, so maybe we'll touch on a few of these current events.
What you have?
First up to the plate is government shutdown.
Oh my gosh.
You know, for those who are tuned in with us today, we love to hear from you guys. Call in 410-702-5657. Excuse me, that's 410-702-5657. And you can also text in to us, you know, during the live broadcast. Because I want to hear from my audience, you know, what they think about this government shutdown. And what does it mean? You know, like I'm not even sure I have clarity. Like I know these suckers, you know, deciding that they ain't doing no work. That's what I get from it so far. But what type of effect is it actually really having? Now, I have a military customer, and he was giving me a little insight because he's not getting a paycheck.
He's not?
I
thought they continue to work and get paid.
Nah, he said he wasn't getting a check.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I guess that definitely has an effect. But what is going on? You know, like what are these people doing?
I knew most of the employees gonna leave, and I believe they have to take it with no pay. But I didn't know the military had to do it. I thought they.
That's what he said. Yeah, you know,
that's crazy.
That's what he said. He said he doesn't have a check coming.
Yeah, I need some more insight on this too. So
yes,
have some
right. So anybody out there, if you could tell us a little bit about this government shutdown, because you know my dealings with the government is limited. So when they shut down, it, you know, I don't know the effect it has on me, but I know it has an effect on people. You know, people work for the government. You know, part of the government. You know, so forth and so on.
And I'm not trying to sound thoughtless or anything, but does that mean like taxes are going to be late?
Yeah, how about that? Are our taxes shut down? Because that's part of the government. I bet that's the one part they left open.
I'm sure filing they left open, but as far as refunds, I don't know. Are they going to be late?
Oh yeah, refunds.
Right.
Now see, I didn't even think of that. I was thinking strictly from paying taxes purposes.
See,
because I don't get refunds.
It's
I haven't had a
already
refund forever.
Coming out, you know, since last year. But I'm just saying, is it going to be later than February now?
Right. Does anybody have the word
We're going to go into March
on how this shutdown is going to affect income tax checks? Because if it affects income tax checks, it's going to affect a lot of stuff.
I mean, that's going to affect businesses. I mean, that's businesses making their money, so.
Yeah, it's going to affect a whole lot of stuff if people ain't getting their
money,
checks.
so it affects people spending money, so it affects businesses making money. So that's not going to be good.
Yeah, if you know about the shutdown, hit us up.
But I do know, I think like the national parks and stuff like that in Washington, I don't know, they'll be open.
Oh, okay.
Because of
like
the shutdown.
On the Parks and Rec side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I guess that is government ran, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
But I think Trump promised to keep the gates open. But I don't.
Yeah, Trump. Yeah, we're not giving Trump no airtime.
No
airtime for Trump.
I'm not really familiar with the shutdown.
So what about Monique? Have you seen the video with Monique?
I did.
What'd you think?
I could go many directions with Monique, but I'll just go in the direction of, I don't know, I like to support, so.
Well, I mean, I definitely get what she's saying as far as with the other people.
I do too.
You know, getting paid. I get that, you know what I mean? Because I'm sure, you know, that's the truth.
I get that she may have been out of work too for a while.
Right.
But it still doesn't erase her resume.
True. Well, I mean, I'm a little biased because nobody's ever written me a check for $500,000. So, you know, I'm a little biased, you know, because like I'm taking $500,000.
Right.
Like, you know, even if I complain about it afterwards, you know, I'm gonna take it and then later on say, look, man, they did me wrong. You know, like they didn't pay me what they paid them.
But if you've been making $100,000 a year for the last 10 years,
right,
and then a couple years, you know, you get unemployed for some unforeseen reason, whatever the case may be, but you get unemployed, you go back to work, and now, you know, they're offering you $50,000,
right,
you know, to do the same thing. I mean, that's going to be a little problem.
I definitely understand her complaint, but let me ask you now, she wants us to boycott Netflix,
right?
So how do we feel about that? You know, like at the end of the day, see, if Netflix personally would have did something, say, to offend the black community,
right?
See, then I completely understand saying, hey, yeah, let's boycott Netflix, you know, because they offended us as a community. But, you know, I consider myself to be a pretty logical person.
Right. So
from a logical perspective, it sounds like you want me to boycott Netflix because they didn't give you the money you wanted. Well, Netflix didn't give me any money. So I didn't boycott them because they didn't give me money. You want me to boycott them because they're not giving you a certain amount of money? Like, how do we feel about that?
I mean, of course, probably for Monique. I mean, of course, it's a little personal. Yes, they didn't give her the money.
Yeah, it's very personal.
So, of course, it's a little personal. But I mean, she's just still asking, you know, us for support.
Is that too much? Is it too much, though?
Too much to ask us for some support?
Right. You know, like, you got to look at how people enjoy Netflix. You want them to now stop enjoying that because your paycheck wasn't right. Not because Netflix said something that offended black people. And even though we know, of course, her grounds deals with underlying racism. But, you know, that's pretty normal routine for black people to have to deal with that.
I mean, we always said, like on one show we did before, like we always said, like, people don't want to get involved until it's at their front door.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you know, it becomes about everybody now.
Right.
When, you know, we've been saying this forever. But
so this is at her front door.
It's at her front door now.
Okay.
But, you know, I still, you know, have to be loyal to my people and just, you know, I would boycott Netflix.
You're going to boycott Netflix because Monique is not getting the type of money she feels she deserves. I'm going to have to respectfully disagree.
Right. And
I'm not boycotting Netflix over Monique.
It's not really a Monique thing for me. It's just, I don't watch Netflix anyway.
Okay. Because to me, all she's experiencing is business the way that white supremacists do business. And she's been in the game long enough to understand that. I mean, at what stage in my life, right, do I complain about $500,000? I'm not there.
But I know, but still,
I could know it's jacked up in the whole nine, but I'm going to secure the bag.
But still, to me, that sounds like Monique as well. I mean, of course, Monique has been, you know, it's all about her right now because she didn't get what she wanted. Right. But of course, you know, the next person saying like, well, I'm not going to boycott Netflix because, like, what's in it for me? That's the same thing, isn't it? Like, well, if you're saying I'm not going to get anything beneficial by doing it.
Well, Netflix didn't do anything to us as a community of people. Right. Netflix did something that Monique didn't like.
I understand that.
You know, so I think you've gone pretty hard when you expect black people to boycott something that didn't work out for you.
They do that all the time, though.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Jandy and Houston wanted to boycott the restaurant. They didn't do anything to us.
When who?
Remember when Yandy group didn't get seated in, what's that famous restaurant in Houston? And then T.I. and everybody came out starting to boycott it because it was
but don't you think that's a little different? Because that dealt with racism towards black people.
Or whatever.
Like, that wasn't specifically a Yandy thing. They did that because they was black. They didn't do it because, you know, oh, this is Yandy. We're not seating her.
Okay, I thought.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay, I thought Monique said that it was color bias.
No,
maybe I didn't watch
it couldn't have been because it couldn't have been because she spoke about how Dave Chappelle got 20 million and how Chris Rock got 20 million. So this is a Monique thing. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, I'm a Monique fan. Then,
okay, all right. It's all coming in clear now.
I'm gonna stay on the Monique band.
I mean, I like Monique. You know what I mean? So let's read a comment here. So Miss Cheryl Tapeon says, the woman is sad. I guess she typed that wrong. She hasn't worked in a while, so she has to have something to complain about. She's not happy. Okay, well, what do you think? You think she's just not happy, or what's going on here?
She's not happy.
See, like, I get it.
She's not happy about that $500,000.
Right, I get it. I get it. She sees herself as being more valuable, and I would agree with that.
Like, and I guess she's just doing this too because I mean, maybe she's hoping they're going to offer her more money. I don't know. I doubt it. I'm not even in that game. You know what I mean? I'm not even on that level. But from an outsider looking in, I've never seen that be the case. Okay, well, is Monique's name worth more than $500,000?
Yeah.
Call us, tell us.
Yeah. Please, somebody let us know something.
I mean,
Like I said, if they did something that I felt, okay, they did something that offended the black community, period. But, they didn't. She's just dealing with regular racism that we deal with every day. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand.
Like black women in particular deal with that a lot on the job, where they don't get paid the money that the men are getting paid, let alone their white counterparts.
And then, of course, if she did get the money she received, and once she received it, then what? Monique, is it done and over with?
Right.
And you're done with us, and it goes back to life as normal for Monique.
Okay. All right, well, let's take our first break. We'll be back. Black by the Man radio show. Stay tuned.
The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com. I was meeting with a friend yesterday, and I've gotten to the point where don't ask me a question because the truth is going to come out. And
exactly.
Just don't do it.
If you ain't looking for the truth, don't come to me.
Don't do it because I can't hold my tongue. And she wants to be this stylist, boutique, but you're not doing anything in that nature. And I can't take you seriously if you're not doing those things. And I understood why people didn't take me seriously because I found myself in somebody else's lane. I was good at what I was doing and what I wanted to be, but I wasn't doing it for me. So how can I ask you to take me seriously if I'm living in somebody else's shoes?
And nobody can do what you do. And I think that that's a big problem that people face now. Like, you see what somebody else is doing and you want to do that when that's not your lane.
That's not your lane.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's popular. It's getting that person money. It's getting that person applause. Oh, I want applause. I want money. Let me stand over here behind them.
And then a lot of times people aren't honest with themselves either. Like, I was thinking earlier today, I've been woke for almost 2 days, so so you get honesty, yes. And I was thinking, like,
The Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live United. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusi. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt.
Man, it is what it is.
Advocate.
Then last week you told me your wife was cooking. Man, it is what it is. Then again, I don't think I want your wife cooking because you don't like it. Well, it is what it is. This Fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer. Hip Hop K. Check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio. It is what it is, 9/11.
Yo,
listen,
our principal used to put, we talk in the cafeteria, he would put us on that wall, and he going down the line.
That, right? I was at Lamell Middle School. I had a principal by the name Mr. Moore. He used to point at me in my forehead and smack the shit out of it. Anytime I did something wrong. Yeah. But it was discipline.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. We don't got that now.
Listen, bro.
It's nowhere now. That's the
with
problem.
my mother.
It's no
come through that school building. That now. You go to jail.
My mother come through the school building and you hear her from the front door. I don't give a fuck if y'all call 911, 411, 211, 311. I'ma whip his ass.
Right.
And I'm in the classroom acting like a clown, and I said, "Oh, somebody, mama finna whoop they ass, right?"
This is your boy for the whole time.
Look, she got that fucking corner, and I'm up on the board drawing dumb shit. She said, "What the fuck you doing?" I said, "Nothing." She said, "Come here. You want to be a fucking class clown?" She said, "Pull your pants down." I looked at her like, "What?"
Whoa.
She said, "Don't worry about it." She snatched that fucking leather belt off so fat, man, she will wham my ass out.
Man, you the ringleader.
Oh, no. She said, "Look.
You want to be in circus? You want to be the ringleader."
She said, "Now apologize to the class."
Right.
I was so fucking embarrassed. I said, "I apologize." Look. I apologize. She said, "Say it loud."
Artists Exchange. The Artists Exchange. The Artists Exchange. The Artists Exchange. The Artists Exchange. Artists Exchange Live. The Artists Exchange.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Ready? Let's get it. Welcome back to the Black Bottom Man Radio Show. I'm your boy, Brother Mike. I'm here with my co-host, the lovely Miss Janice. Today's topic is going to be behavior of young black women, but we were actually touching on some current events, and we was going over the whole Monique situation. So the lovely Miss Janice said, "You support Monique, you're going to boycott Netflix."
Yes.
Going hard on Netflix.
Yeah, the only thing I ask of Monique next time is, she doing a video, I'm gonna send her a Black Bottom Man hoodie. She put that hoodie on next time she doing her video. But
I like that.
I got you, Monique. I got you.
I like that. So let's read a comment here. Dwight Brooks. What's up, Mr. Brooks? How you doing, brother? So Dwight says, Monique ain't selling out shows. She really not even relevant right now. She don't compare to Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle. Honestly, she lucky they even giving her a chance. You know what, brother? I'm going to have to go with you on that. Okay. I don't think he's being rude with what he's saying. I think he's just calling it for what it is. Like you're not that hot item right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm just saying, when do we get so mentally displaced that $500,000 is not suitable? Like I said, I do get it, but I think she's experiencing regular racism. Like we deal with this every day on a regular job, but you secure the bag and then you go complain about it later. But like every time, like I go through racism in my life, I can't expect black people, to jump up and boycott because, I did a contract and it should have been X amount of dollars, but they gave me Y amount of dollars, so y'all shouldn't fool with that no more. I just think it's a stretch.
When you famous people kind of expect that.
Yeah, they get a little spoiled.
Yeah.
I think they get a little spoiled, you know what I mean? And think they got the power to, say, hey, well, I'll stop everybody from watching this. It's like, no, you don't quite have that power.
I mean, because I'm sure in everyday life, people is experiencing this all the time. I mean, yes, I sit here, I joke around, play around, and be like, yes, Monique, I'll support you.
Right.
But, I'm not a Netflix watcher anyway, so.
I mean,
like I said, it's not hard for me.
I definitely support her argument, but I can't support boycotting Netflix when they still paid Dave Chappelle $20 million and paid Chris Rock $20 million, right? Like, so like there are black people that's getting paid off that. I think it has a lot to do with ego. I think we're dealing with an ego here. And love you, Monique. Not trying to offend Monique. I like her as a comedian, like what she does, but I don't think boycotting Netflix because she's only getting $500,000. I mean, it's $500,000. It's $500,000. Like half of anything is usually good.
I mean, you kind of know how that goes, though. When women aren't getting what they want,
right.
Throw a little fit about.
I'm saying when your money reaches a status where people start using words like half. Like, see, that's not a word that's used with regular money. Nobody says I got half of $10. You know what I'm saying? I got half of $1,000. I got half of $10,000. So if you using words like half when it come to my money, I'm cool with that because that always deals with big numbers. $1.5 million, $500,000. You know what I'm saying? $10.5 million. Like half is not used when it comes to numbers dealing with my money. So I just think, you know, like what point do you reach where you say, you know, $500,000? Like, come on, what am I?
And that was for like
chopped liver. You
what
know?
was that for?
It was for her comedy special.
Okay.
It was for her comedy special.
Okay.
Yeah, it was for her comedy special.
I mean, is she gonna do it? Not do it?
You know, I don't know. I don't know if she, you know, I guess she's not doing it. You
Okay.
know, I guess she's not.
Okay.
Well, Monique, we wish you the best of luck, sister.
We
and
did.
At the end of the day, if you can't get them for that $20 million, go on, scoop up that $500,000 and keep it moving. You know, keep it moving. So what else was in current events? So Monique. Sex dolls.
Oh yeah.
Sex dolls. What is going on in this world?
Like, we need another distraction.
Have you seen anything on that?
Not really.
Good. Moving on. No sex dolls today. Moving on. Because that's just, you know what I mean? Like, that's really not even worthy of even talking about, you know? So we got government shutdowns, current events. We got Monique wanting us to protest.
I mean, but the sex dolls have been
sex
around for
dolls.
years, right? They've been around for quite a long time, right?
You know, I've seen some things on social media, and it's my understanding that they kind of they stepped the game up on them a little bit. they stepped the game up, so that's kind of crazy.
Wait,
you know, but
wait, how did they step the game up? Are they walking, talking? What are they doing?
Some of them talk.
Nuh-uh.
Yes, they do. Some of them talk.
No, they don't.
You know, with the option to turn the talking off. So that works good for men. If we had that option, we'd probably explore it.
What do they say?
I digress.
What do they say?
You know, I don't know. I've seen the pictures though, and they're pretty realistic looking. Like, you know, like they built them like black women. You understand what I mean? Even though it might be a white doll or Asian doll, but they built them like black women. So they like framed it behind the beauty of a black woman. But yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. But you know, I try to see both sides of the coin, right? So if a sex doll can stop a rapist from running out here and raping somebody, instead he can rape that sex doll, then hey, you know, do what you do. You know what I mean? Do what you do. If it's going to stop. Oh, okay, here we go. Cheryl Taborn just reminded me. Tide Pods.
Okay.
What is going on with the Tide Pods? Are you serious? You know, have we reached this point? You know, we got ice bucket challenges, we got burn challenges, and fire challenges, and hottest potato chips. We done ran out of ideas. So and when I say we, I don't mean we.
So what are they doing with the Tide Pods?
They eating them.
Eating them?
Eating them.
Like?
Yeah, eating them. I don't know what it's doing for them other than poisoning them. But, you know, I love how, you know, Tide has a Facebook account, too, the company Tide. And they put up a post that just said, stop. just stop. You know what I mean? Like, we trying to clean some clothes. Y'all out here eating the products. Y'all about to mess our game up. People ain't going fool with Tide. This is crazy.
Isn't it a commercial out right now? I think it has something to do with the Gushers where there's a girl licking the hands.
Right, some Gusher. So maybe they looking at it like it's a Gusher.
So, but...
Tide Pods, you know. So is it actually a challenge?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Because I see where Cheryl wrote Tide Pod challenge. Is it actually a challenge?
Who's supposedly be coming up with these challenges?
You know, I'm going to say whoever it is doesn't look like me and you. That's just my shot in the dark.
Anytime you turn around now, like, who's coming up with this?
Who's coming up with this crap?
I mean, we can't. The kids do everything.
Yeah, so we're just going to let the Tide Pods go.
But like I said, there's a commercial with somebody's...
Yeah, brother Brooks. Straight foolishness. Putting
liquid soap in their mouth.
Right. Just straight foolishness.
Tide is going to put up something that says, stop it.
Right.
Okay.
Tide said, just stop.
All right.
Just stop. All right, so let's go on and get into our topic today. So today we want to talk about, you know, the behavior patterns that we're seeing in young black women, you know, from teenage years, even going into the 20s. And... It's very unacceptable behavior that I'm seeing, you know. So it's so many different areas we can touch on with this, right? But let's just start with social media. Now, I was a little late joining Facebook. I didn't get on Facebook till 2013, right? I had friends that already been on it for years.
Right.
But when I got on Facebook, the first thing I noticed was these videos of these young girls fighting, right?
Right.
And, you know, I'm looking like, wow, this is crazy, right? And then it dawned on me that, like, I'm not friends with any kids. So these videos were being posted by adults. parents, people my age. And I just thought to myself, wow, like, I didn't know this was going on until I got on the Facebook. All these young black girls out here getting in fights. And, adults posting the fights and like, oh, check this out. She banged her in her mouth. And I'm looking like, this is not cool, right? But, when I reflect on, my childhood and how young ladies were back then, it's a lot different today. Like these young black ladies seem to have a lot of anger. And it's like if it's not some anger I'm seeing, then I'm seeing videos with, promiscuous sexual behavior. You understand what I mean? So like, just looking at it from a social media perspective, like, what has happened? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on?
I mean, back in the older days, of course, the younger teens or younger women, of course they wasn't acting this way because it wasn't everything going on like it is now. Like, society wasn't putting a whole lot of stuff in our face through social media.
So you think society plays a major part in this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Society definitely plays.
I definitely think it does. I think it does. I think those who control the media and control what's going to come through the television, television. I think that is playing a part.
I think back then they probably was looking towards the future a little bit more, and they were trying to come up with something to rattle us and put us in this position like this. They were looking.
It's been a drastic change. It's been a drastic change.
It's a huge change.
It is. I personally don't like it. I don't like it. I don't think it's I don't think it's helping them grow into being little ladies. But I think it's a lot of factors involved as to how these young ladies are ending up this way. Probably everything from upbringing to environment to shows, television, social media. So I kind of want to talk about a little bit of that today. So for the audience out there, we'd love to have you guys' participation, especially from black mothers. We're trying to figure out what has happened with our young ladies. Why have their behavior patterns become so violent, become so sexual? Like when I was young, girls talked like girls.
I'm definitely going to need some help with this, especially with the social media thing, because I'm like very far behind social media. I don't do social media at all. Facebook, Twitter, IG.
But you've seen some of the videos.
Of course,
and stuff,
I've seen it because my kids.
Right.
I do have kids, and of course, they are on Facebook, so of course I've been on it.
The behavior is a little crazy. Now I don't know statistics right on this, but it seems from a social media perspective, when I see videos of the young boys, they're like rapping, dancing, you understand what I mean, doing comedy type stuff, things along that line.
Right.
Occasionally you see one with the boys fighting, but it's really not that often.
Right.
But like with the girls, it's like either a brutal fight or some twerking. You know what I mean? It's like it's really not a whole lot in between there, right? And I don't remember young ladies being so upfront with certain things. Like when we was young, I'm sure there were, young ladies who talked a certain way when they was around just the other girls. But, when they would get around, boys, they went back to their little debutante, type behavior. Like I hear young ladies talking today, and I be thinking it's dudes until I turn around and see it's a young lady. Because, you hear like, yeah, son, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm telling you, wait till she come out that building. I'm going to run up on her. You know what I mean, son?
I think that's what
and
the
I be looking like,
right now.
Like this is a young lady talking?
That's one of the biggest disappointments right now with the young women in their mouths. Like,
let's read a comment. Okay, this is Miss Taborn. She says, when you have mothers that encourage girls to fight and taping it, that's part of the problem. So some responsibility is falling on black mothers. I believe that's what she's saying here.
Right, but I mean, the mothers didn't still, create this whole social media for these fights to end up on. But
true, but that is only one aspect of it.
And how many mothers? I mean, seriously, how many mothers are out here taping fights and putting it on social media? So I'm sure, yes, some mothers has done it, but
it's definitely
really
a lot of videos on social media of young women fighting. I thought majority of them were probably being recorded by,
their
peers.
Were recording it
but yeah, so.
But you're telling me parents are recording this and they.
Well, yeah, I think that's happening too, because I've seen videos where the parent is there. You understand what I mean? And encouraging it. You know what I mean? Recording it, like, get her, Keisha. You know what I'm saying? You know, get her, Keisha. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I've seen that. I've seen videos where the little girl will be fighting and the mom is there, and then she start losing, and the mom just go in and wail everybody's ass.
Okay, well then yes, there is a problem then.
Yeah. Like you said, you know, you ain't on social media, so quite as much at least. But yeah, it's some craziness going on. You know what I mean? And it's I think it's very harmful. You know what I mean? Like, because, you know,
I don't get that then.
Are they going to grow into this type of black woman? You know what I mean? That wants to be, you know, trying to check jaws and, you know, things of that nature. And that's why I want black women to really participate today. You guys can call in 410-702-5657, or you can text in, because we want to hear from the black mothers. We want to hear from the sisters. We want to hear about how we are feeling about the behavior of our young black ladies, because the behavior is not appropriate. Now, of course, I don't feel like this needs to be said, and I think it's very redundant when people say stuff like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Of course, we know it's not all black,
right.
You know, young ladies, because, you know, people do that. They'll go, oh, it's not all of them. No shit, Sherlock. Like, nothing is 100%. But we're speaking from the perspective that it's too many.
Wow, so what are you?
It's too much.
So what are you saying around the percentage?
It's at least 50. I actually think it's higher, but it's at least 50%. I believe it is, because it's become cool to be this way. You know, like that. I think that's part of the problem. It's become cool. Like, young ladies were not like this when I was young. Like, if you had, you know, like, say 5 girls in your neighborhood, right? And you kind of knew, you know, their personalities. You knew which one was the one that'd take it there. Like, oh no, see, she'll fight you. You know what I'm saying? She'll take it to her. She cool, you know what I mean? She don't be trying to get down like that. But now it's like all 5 of them.
So could this be a way for the young ladies to get more attention?
It could be. It could be.
By fighting and
it could be.
Recorded and putting it on Facebook?
It could be, yeah, because it does draw attention.
I mean, are they lacking attention that they want more? I don't know, because like I said,
I think that's a possibility, because like we do get caught up with the whole likes. You know, like everybody on Facebook wants some likes. Now, I know it's a lot of y'all out there that want to deny that. Maybe. But at the end of the day, Facebook, people want to get some likes. People get offended they don't get likes. People go through their friends list and or their like list, and then if they don't see certain people that they felt like should have gave them a like, they actually have an attitude towards them. Get mad. So they could be fishing for likes, you know, when they recording the videos and putting them out there.
I mean, because I don't know what else are you going to get from this popularity? I don't know. This is crazy.
But what do you think is going on within our community? You know, so before we even dive deep into the social media, right? Let's just talk about attitudes, period. You know, say like just going to school or dealing with adults. Like I was just explaining to my son that when we were young, you know, like our parents taught us to respect adults, right? Period.
Right.
You know, now you already knew you're going to respect black adults, but you were taught to respect adults, period. So that was even your teacher. Right. Whether your teacher was white, black, Hispanic, whatever, you were taught to respect adults. I feel that that is missing. Like, you know, like when we was young, say you hit an age where you 22, 23 years old, and like you a young man and you feeling yourself and you lift weights and all that, right? You know you can probably, you know, beat up that 52-year-old man over there, but the respect that was put in you, you wouldn't do that. That man would have to force you to do that. Well, it's not like that no more. These young boys have no respect for grown men. They got no respect for grown women, and it's the same with the young ladies. You know, like they'll fight you in a heartbeat.
I do have to agree with that. Like,
yeah. So what's going on?
That's gone, and I don't know, because you know you hear kids all the time walking around like I I don't have to respect her unless she respect me. Like,
right.
They got it all mixed up.
And I feel like within the black community, we are witnessing our young ladies become vile, you know, filthy mouthed, oversexed, disrespectful, and like nobody's saying nothing. Nobody's saying nothing. Now, I have to say, this is a situation where it's a little difficult to blame this on the fathers. See, when it's the boys, it's very easy in the black community to say it's a lack of fathers, right? It's a lack of fathers, which is true. These boys are out of control because it's a lack of fathers. They don't have fathers teaching them. All 100% true, right? But now we're talking about the young ladies. Now, I'm not saying that a father doesn't play a part in a young lady's life, because he does. But when it comes to behavior and acting like a young lady, does that not fall on the mother?
That's my opinion. Absolutely, I think so.
Okay, all right.
That's definitely
right. Okay,
yes.
So let me tie this into my point, right? Okay, so I'm saying when it comes to the black woman, the black woman's biggest weapon is her mouth. Sorry, ladies, I'm sorry. That's just the reality of the situation. Like, no one can out-argue a black woman. That's just facts, right? You wasting your time. She's gonna shut you down. She's gonna crush you verbally, right? So I'm saying, if we're saying some of this responsibility is falling onto the black mothers, I think the reason no one is saying anything because no one wants to challenge a black woman. No one wants to be that dude to sit in front of a black woman and say, okay, what part do you guys play in these young ladies being wild? Because, like, you're going to get verbally assassinated.
Yeah, you just answered your own question. Like, you can't, like, nobody wants to be the one to sit there and argue with her.
You're going to get verbally assassinated, right? You're going to get verbally assassinated. So I'm saying, is that hurting us? Because no one wants to discuss it.
Yes.
It's hurting us.
It's hurting us, and it's hurting the little girls. They're just like, their mouth is just like an adult's mouth. Have you heard a little girl's mouth?
Right, and see, and that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, before we even do social media, right? What part do we play in it as parents? Now, like I said, I'm not putting it all on the mother, because if a father is around, a father too can implement, hey, listen, no, you don't talk like that, young lady. You watch your mouth. You're a lady, you know? But I'm saying, at the end of the day, you know, you're looking at boys and girls. So, you know, the boy kind of falls to the father, you know, is what he's going to become, and same with the girls, with the mothers. So what's going on where these young ladies are turning out this way, and why is nobody saying anything?
With the girls, I think it starts so young. I think when they're younger and they act in this way, I mean, parents find it cute. They think it's like really
I agree.
Cute when
I agree.
They're doing it as little kids, and as they're growing older and older, you know, they're just never being corrected to the point where they get too old. Now they talking back to you,
right?
And you know, half the parents, I mean, either they don't have time to now discipline them, or they're afraid to.
I agree with that. You know what I mean? Because when young girls are little girls and they are sassy and they have mouth, within the black community, we do try to see that as being cute. Oh, that's little mama. You know what I mean? Little mama. You know what I'm saying? But that, you know, she's 16 and that same mouth is now worse. And she's using it against her teacher, her friends, her own mother, her grandmother. So we play a part in this.
The little kids, you know, they use that profanity, and parents be laughing. They think it's cute. Like, what did she say again?
And I'm going to speak on that too, right? But I'll read a. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'll read a comment here. This is from Cheryl Taborn. Cheryl says, working in the school system, I see young girls starting in pre-K that are so angry, and when the mothers come in, they are ready to fight because they are being told that their child is bad. Their child does nothing wrong. It's the school and the teachers. Yeah. Now, that is a big difference from when I was growing up.
Yes, that was a really good statement right there, because that's very true.
That's very true.
And it do start as young as preschool, because that's where they starting that young. And she's right. When you do tell a parent that their child is bad, they are ready to fight you.
The mothers, specifically the mothers, about the little girls. Yes, I definitely think that's true.
They're all ready to fight you, because the first thing they're saying is like, she's a little kid and how is she bad? And yes, she's bad.
Right. Like, what happened?
She's 3 years old and she's bad.
We used to do well as a community with accepting the reality of our children. Like, I remember being young and another adult would, you know, say I did something. And I try to tell my mom, I didn't do that. And, like, my mother would almost smack me in my mouth. Like, boy, why would this grown person come in here and lie on you and say that you did something you didn't do, right? Like, they understood that. If that teacher said, listen, he spit in somebody's face, like, my mom wasn't in denial about that. She like, now, I know your little ass is bad, right. And I'm going to deal with you, right? But today, like Cheryl was saying, like, these mothers don't let you tell them anything.
Have you ever tried sitting in a child's party and, you know, it's a lot of little kids running around, and one little kid is particularly bad, and they're coming over there, they even scratching you and coming over there, and you telling them stop, and they saying little bad words to you or whatever, and you watching the parent like won't correct them.
You looking at the parent like, yo, can you get your little terrorizer?
And you're sitting there like, I'm about to beat your kid.
Yes.
And they're just sitting there thinking it's cute, like get over here, Dad, get over here, like. So
what happened?
Yeah.
I'll read another comment here. This is from Dwight Brooks again. He says, parents being best friends with their children and forgetting about the whole parenting part, not at all, but I see that a lot, and I agree with Ms. Taborn. Yeah, no doubt. Me too, brother. Like, that whole friends thing, you know, like, what happened with parents where today they do want to be friends with their kids? They want to be, like, I want my child to like me. My mother did not care if I liked her. You understand what I'm saying? My mother did not care if I liked her. I don't need you to like me. You my son. I take care of you.
I don't know what's the big deal that, like, parents want their kids. I mean, women especially, because, you know, I don't know anything. I can't speak on men really, but I don't know why women want their, you know, daughters to like them so much.
That's so different,
but
right?
They do. Because, like,
well, hold that thought. We're gonna go to break. I got my engineer on me. We're going to come back, Black by the Man radio show. We are talking about the behavior of young black girls. We want participation from everybody. You can call in 410-702-5657, or you can text in live, and we will read your comments on the air. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
You use Tearless Baby Shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bath water to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by Understood.org and the Ad Council.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes open.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All right, we are back. Welcome back to the Black Bottom Man Radio Show. I'm your boy, Brother Mike. I'm here with my co-host, the lovely Miss Janice. And we are talking about behavior patterns of young black women that we are seeing develop. So we was touching on the mothers not allowing anyone to tell them anything wrong about their child.
Yeah, we was talking about the moms wanting to be friends.
Right, and wanting to be friends. There we go. Yeah, wanting to be friends.
Wanting to be friends with the daughters.
When did we start this up?
Parents, I don't know exactly.
So my mother did not care to be my friend.
Exactly when we started this, because there are parents who even goes out with their daughters. Like, they sit in bars with their daughters, they parties with their daughters. So I don't know exactly when this started. I don't even know why.
Right, like the culture boundaries that we had, like you said, a mother going out, you know, with her daughter, you know, to have a drink, strip club or whatever. Like, I remember, like, that wouldn't happen under any circumstances. Do you get what I'm saying? Like your mother, even if she got down that way, but she's not going to no strip bar with you. You understand what I mean? Like, there was still that parent-child thing going on.
There's just a respect level then that's not there then, because I would never go out to the bar with my mom, and I would never go even in a strip club with my mom. So heck, I don't even use profanity around my mom.
I was about to touch on that, right? I'm glad you did. So let's talk about the profanity.
That's just, there has to be a lack of respect right now with the kids and the parents. So
the profanity is insane.
The profanity,
like these young folks,
definitely insane.
They cuss better than us.
Oh yeah. Oh, the younger teens.
We grown.
You know? The younger teens use more profanity than I think I've used in my entire life.
Right, right. So like, what happened to, you know, little girls wanting to be, you know, young ladies? Like, why is it cool now to be foul-mouthed? Why is it cool now to talk like the boys? When I was young, the girls didn't think it was cool to talk like the boys. Today, it's the opposite. They think it's cool to talk like the boys.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe the response that they're getting from doing this, maybe they're getting some type of good response from it that they like.
Maybe back to the attention thing that you was talking about?
Even if it's attention from the little boys, maybe they're getting it from them. Maybe the little boys think it's cool. I don't know. Maybe
you know, I think it actually turns the little boys off too.
It can make them I don't know. Is it making them popular in school? I'm not sure exactly why there's.
I don't even think they're thinking it that far through.
Little girls walking around using words like "yo" and
a lot of profanity.
I don't.
A lot of profanity.
Like, I'm a little bit lost with that.
You know, like they seem to want to do what the guys do today.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? They want to do what the boys do.
Okay, well, it won't be that far off, because aren't they watching their moms? Isn't they doing this big march of equal rights? Women want rights like men. So is this going to be a
I mean,
way off thing that the little
that's
girls want to do?
That's a whole other topic.
Okay, but isn't the little girls watching it? So is it that far off that they want to do it too and talk like the boys talking and stuff too? Like,
I mean, but like, we watched stuff when we was young. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't make me want to do that. You know, like.
I understand. Like, okay, I understand. Like, we did a lot of stuff when we were younger that, you know, would never happen now. But that was then. Like, we didn't. Of course, we didn't have all this social media and all of this other stuff that we.
So you think these other pressures that they deal with, social media and all that?
Yeah.
You think that plays a larger percentage in their behavior or smaller?
Larger. I don't think we ever want to go back to the way we was before being brought up. Not as long as society has something to do with it, we won't.
Okay, so let me ask. So, like, is that straying away from the responsibility of the parents, though? If we say social media is the bigger part of why these kids are that way, because I don't think it is. I think social media plays a part of it.
I don't think. No, I'm not saying it's the bigger part. So, you know, if that came out.
Yeah,
wrong.
I don't think it's the bigger part.
I'm not saying social media is the bigger part, but it is a big part. And I mean, the accountability still has to lie on, you know,
right,
the moms, you know, with these girls.
Okay, I want to read another comment here. This is Miss Taborn. She said it started when parents were told if they spanked their kids, they would be taken away from them, and it made it easier for their kids to do what they want because parents fear the system. So parents can't be parents; they become friends with the kids to keep peace. Right. Very interesting. Right. Very interesting.
Again, that goes back to society putting stuff in place.
Well, yeah, I definitely think society played this role. Now, what she is speaking on specifically, right? See, here's the thing. What happened, and this is just my opinion, right? Mm-hmm. Within this society is black culture doesn't get the respect of other races in their culture. So I'm saying within the black culture, we are disciplinaries, mm-hmm. right? We will beat your kid's ass. That's what we do. Right. We're not killing the kid, but we're showing this child that there are repercussions. We grew up getting beat with switches, race car tracks, wooden spoons, slip-a-thone at the back of your head. There was a culture with the way we disciplined our children. Now, mm-hmm. look, hear me out, right?
Yes.
That discipline, because you got it from your parents, that taught that child how to act in this real world.
Sure.
Because underneath your parents, you get your ass beat.
Mm-hmm.
In real life, someone may kill you.
Right.
Your parents understood that.
Right.
If I don't teach this child to respect adults and conduct themselves a certain way, somebody in the real world is not going to say, go get a switch from our back. They're going to pull out a gun and shoot you, right? Because they understood you still a black child, right? So there are a lot of forces that go against you. You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
Okay, so we knew to have a certain level of respect through our culture. I think what happened is another group of people who are not black
mm-hmm.
looked at our culture and said, this is unacceptable, the way that you guys raise your kids.
Right.
Okay? And they have no right to do that.
They do.
They have no right to do that.
Mm-mm.
Because, like, Asian families beat their kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, they beat their kids. They use stuff we use, spoons, whatever. They will beat their kids.
Mm-hmm.
But yet nobody from another race came forward and said, Asians need to stop doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that we have allowed people from other races to convince us that our culture and the way that we deal with our kids is not appropriate. And we bought into it. So we started backsliding on our rules. What normally would have got a switch on your ass, now they just saying, well, I just give them a timeout. And I think with our children, that allowed them to get further out of control. When they started knowing that something was going to happen. Like, I grew up in the house with my mother. My
mm-hmm.
mother was a disciplinary.
Right.
She was the authority of the house.
Mm-hmm.
But my father was around. He just didn't live with us. But it was no thing for my mother to make me recognize the difference between the ass whipping from her and the ass whipping from my father. Mm-hmm. Because she would say, you do it again, and I'm going to call your father over here.
Right.
See, that registers with a child. See, this ain't no regular ass whipping.
Right.
Pops is gonna come through.
Right.
He gonna do you in. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But it was our culture, and it kept our kids in a certain line.
Right.
So when other people and other races said that you guys shouldn't do that, it's abuse, so forth and so on. We have to get into understanding who be setting these rules, and if we start buying into the rules of other cultures, then it weakens us. So now our children are not doing what they should be doing and going out of control in certain areas because we've lost grip of our culture of how we raised them because other people came along and said, you need to stop doing that or I'm going to call Child Protective Services. Because at the end of the day, they had that stuff back then. Like kids would say that in the 80s. You know what I mean? This is child abuse. You know, I'm called Protective Services and your parents would be like, and I'll help you pack your bags when they get here. You know, because if you can't deal with this, you get up out my house.
And they did have it back then.
Yeah.
And it is bad now because I've watched mothers try to discipline their daughters because their daughters are out of control. And I've watched mothers get locked up for it. I've watched mothers discipline their kids to the point of their kids trying to, you know, fight them back.
Yes.
And the mothers go call the police to calm the child down, and the police gets there and arrests the mom. Like, I've seen these situations.
Right.
So yes, they have taken a lot of that out of our hands.
Yes.
And when kids see that and they see their mom get arrested, what do you think is going to go on in their mind? Like, it's not going to make them better at this point.
Right.
Now they're going to continue to do this, and they're going to just be a mess.
Yeah, and it's definitely a mess, and I think nobody's saying nothing about it.
Their mom for trying to discipline them.
Right.
So
you lost track of your blackness. You lost track of how we get down. We will whip our kids' ass, you know. But today you got it's a bunch of black people who are totally against that. I'm completely against. You should never put your hands on your child. And you know, I'm old school. You know what I mean? I'm looking like you gonna remember when we was young. The parents understood. You can whip that child ass now while it's still a child, or you can wait till later and he's whipping your ass.
That's why, and
that's what it boils down to.
And that's why I believe
somebody getting their ass whipped at some point.
And that's why I believe at like 3-4 years old, that's when they should be getting their spankings. When they're starting to do wrong, then that's when they need to get their spankings. Because at 3, 4, and 5, like they don't know enough to be calling no police on you to come lock you up and all of that.
Right.
Why they getting disciplined at that age? That's why you need to start early. By the time they're 10 and 11. You already have the fear in their hearts, like and you look at them, and they already going to.
That's a part of the culture.
But if you try to wait until they're 11 and 12 to discipline them, then yes, you're going to run into a whole lot of problems.
Yeah, it's too late. It's too late
now, and that's why we're running into all of these issues because we are waiting too late.
Right, we've been taking off our natural path of how we deal with our children.
It's cute. You can look on YouTube now. Like when they're little twerking, it's cute. Like they're 4 years old doing it, and that is cute. They're posting it. And it's
nothing cute about it.
It's a laughable, cute thing right now.
Right.
So yes, when they 11 and 12 and still want to, you know, shake their booties out here to the world, and you like, oh no, you have to cut all of that out now. Well, good luck with that.
Good luck with that, right? Yeah, I definitely think that our culture has been taken from us, and they tried to make it into being something illegal. You know what I mean? When in all reality, this was the thread that kept our children on a certain level because they knew not to do certain things. So it almost makes me think, because, you know, I'm somewhat of a conspiracy theorist, right? You know, like that was done on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when you see, you know, hey, you know, they have a tight culture and it keeps their kids on a certain respect level. And that's not what we want. We want them wilding out. We want them acting crazy so we can lock them up and keep this, you know, high school to prison pipeline going. So we got to make the way they discipline their children illegal.
Well, my girls were disciplined so young that, you know, by the time they got older, they knew and understood, like, you can call the police, you can, but just remember when they come, you know, they're picking you up. Child Protective Services is coming to take you out of your home to go place you in some other home, who knows what environment.
Right.
So you can call. They understood that at a young age.
Yeah, they're trying to stop us from handling our kids.
And of course, you know, I had my mama back there too. So.
Right. I'm sure your mama didn't play that nonsense.
So those, you know, the mamas back then are the ones who raised us or whatever, because, you know, we would have never did half of the stuff these girls are doing now. But
it taught respect. So when we look at our children and we see that the respect is not there like it used to be. Now, as a people, like I said on the last show, we're pretty spiritual people, right? So, you know, biblically, we all know that there are scriptures that say, spare the rod, spoil the child, right? So somebody convinced us to start sparing the rod. We're going against our culture and our God-given, you know, instincts on how we're supposed to raise our children because someone else stepped up and said, you guys can't do that no more. You know what I mean? That's abuse. You know what I mean? It's not good for the child, and we bought into it. You know, we bought into it, and I think it's hurt us real bad. You know what I mean? Because now you got, like what you were talking about, where if a child does something and then you try to talk to the mother and then she wild out. You know what I mean? Ain't trying to hear none of that. See, I remember when I was younger, the older folks talking about babies having babies. When they used to say that, you know, these babies are having babies. I think that is the result of it. You know, like the person who had the child was still a child mentally. That's true. Even if they was 24, you know, 22, 19, whatever. But mentally, they were still childlike. That's true. You know, so when they have this child, it's not a mindset like our parents had of raising this kid to be a functioning member of society. It's kind of like a cool little toy. You understand what I'm saying? You know, like I keep him fresh, you know what I mean? I keep her this, she's so cute and this and that. But it's like, you know, we lost grip of teaching them you know, the discipline and how to conduct themselves.
Okay, so with you saying that, then could that be one of the reasons why the parents would want to go out and party with their child then?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
I mean,
you know, probably.
Children raising children.
Children raising children.
She's still trying to get some of her childhood dreams out too, so they going out and party.
See, this
together.
is why I want to hear from the black women today. You know, if we have black women in the audience today watching, please participate. You know, we want to get your take on this, you know, because we're just two people giving our perspective on it. But I think we all agree across the board that, you know, some things have gotten bad. You know, it's almost like, and maybe I'm being biased when I say this, right? But it's almost like, you know, when it's the boys, it's just like, yeah, it's the boys. You know what I mean? Like, you know, they boys. You know what I mean? You kind of hope they grow out of it, so forth and so on. But like when you see it with the young ladies, it's like tragic. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh no, you know, like not the young ladies. You know, and probably because I know, like, I've learned deeper things. You know what I mean? Like for instance, you can look at a community of people. Right? And, you know, you'll get this from the elders, you know, some of these scholars. But you can look at a community of people and simply take a Kodak moment of the women and what's going on with the women. And it will give you a overall take on those people altogether. Now, why? Because there has been like hardly no communities or civilizations of people that have been successful without the women being successful. You get what I'm saying? And not just success in money, but, you know, success in the way they raise their kids, the respect they have for each other, teaching their daughters that they're young princesses, you know, you grow into be a queen, because this whole queen thing is just out of control. Like every black woman on the planet thinks that she's a queen. And I love y'all to death. But I respectfully disagree. You're not a queen if you out here with certain behavior.
But you have to remember too, some of the little girls are like this, you know, by default. A lot of them were like this, like we said, ever since they were small, 2, 3, growing up, and they grew up this way. Right. And they never had an opportunity of learning anything different. So they doing what. So
you really think they haven't had an opportunity to learn anything different?
Not all of them. Like, if
well, we just went over the not all of them thing earlier.
Right, so that's what I'm saying.
And here you are talking about not all of them.
That's right. I mean, cause
stay with me.
Yeah, because that's why I said some of them is, you know, it's just not their fault that they're like this. This is what they grew up.
Well, I'm definitely not blaming them. Yeah, that's not the question.
They grew up in this environment, and then even if they try to seek for help and go on social media, you know, it's nothing there for them to learn either.
Well, you know, the social media and all that stuff, I definitely think that plays a part.
If the mom is out there busy, you know, still partying and wanting to be friends themselves, like.
But what happened to teaching your daughter certain values about herself, about what she's going to become? You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I know it's a challenge because it's not the norm anymore. Like the norm used to be little girls being taught to act a certain way, have certain behavior. I mean, you know, they participated in debutante balls and you understand me, stuff like that. Like, it's not like that no more. Like they own some other, you know, they own something completely different. So I'm saying, doesn't the mother still have some type of control? You know, and it's not to say that the mother's going to teach her and then she's just not going to participate at all.
No, she.
But you get what I'm saying?
Right, and the mom do, and the mom. Like I said, we have to kind of get the teachings out there early, because a lot of times, you know, as the child do get older, say they get 15, 16, a lot of times, you know, and say it's a, you know, a single mom home, and a lot of times when they get a little older, if we haven't taught it to them by then, it could be a little too late, because at that time, you know, parents, that's the time when some parents might get a little busier. They, you know, start working 2 jobs, and now they just don't have time to be there to show, you know, their daughters, you know, the way from here, because they're so busy in life.
I mean, I guess that is the case with some. Yeah, but you still have one-on-one time with your children.
You still
like my mother worked 2 jobs. My mother came home, went to work from one job at 5 in the morning, came home from that by 3, and was back at the other job by 4.
I agree.
But she still made sure that she implemented her values and taught us what she could you know, as children. So I don't know if I buy. I'm busy and I'm not able to, you know, really implement things.
And that's true too. Back then, you know, when your mom, you know, went to work, and you know, when she was at work, you was home, and when she did come home, you had one-on-one time. But still, you know, when you go to work now, you know, your kids get into so much other things now.
Right.
Like they have social media, they have this music now. Like they have all kinds of other stuff.
They actually have too much.
Yeah. So when you
too
do
much
come
to get
home
into,
and you do get that one-on-one time with them now, it's just not enough. Like
right.
With everything that they're out here getting from everywhere else, like that one-on-one time might not be enough.
Okay. All right. I just still think we missing something. I can't put my finger on it, but well, you know, we're missing something because we have to take responsibility.
We do
for these children.
And if you're a single household, you are missing something. You're missing, you know, the other half to help you with all that social media and music time. You know, that's the other parent could have been, you know, one-on-one time with their child, which.
But you know, a lot of black households don't have two parents.
Right, and that's how we're missing. Yes, so we're missing something.
And that's a whole nother show.
It is a whole nother show, but I'm
we'll
just
do a whole
saying,
nother show on that, right?
You know, all the girls don't end up, you know, like this.
Well, we know that. Like really.
There's a lot of reasons.
I thought they all did until she said that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of reasons. There's a whole lot of reasons.
I'm just trying to get people's take.
That's not just one or two.
The reality of what's going on,
right?
You know, with the ones who are like, because it's a lot of them.
Yes, and
it's a lot of them. Like I don't have a daughter, but if I did, man, I'd probably be stressed out.
And we just have to, start teaching them the discipline and more self-respect. And
well, see, that's just it. Now remember, they're not gonna let you do but so much on the discipline level because they turned our discipline culture into a negative.
Yes, but we're doing it while they're younger. They're growing up with all of this now. See, our parents didn't just teach us this when we turned 10. Like we learned this when we were 2 and 3. We were getting our hands smacked at 2 and 3 years old. By the time we was 10, we wasn't even trying this. Like we was already getting out of bed, making the bed up, making sure the room clean. Like, oh my gosh, when my mom gets home from work, these chores better be done. We was already doing this.
Yeah, that's very true.
So this wasn't taught to us at 10.
I actually just had that conversation with my son.
Yes, we learned this when we were smaller growing up.
Right.
And if we continue to do that, then we don't have to worry about authority coming in. You know, when we discipline it. Like I said, they're too young to be caught. These kids don't know nothing about no police and you can get arrested. If you tap my finger, you get like they don't have a clue about that.
So do we think that the parents, in this case, you know, a black mother, because a lot of our children, you know, don't have father figures in the home. So do we think that she has responsibility in this?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Because that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
like this is such a taboo subject. Like people don't want to talk about this. Like black women are so against these kind of conversations. They'll tune out from this. Like they turn a show on, they talking about that. Oh no, I'm not watching that. And I'm saying, what brings that about? Is it a level of guilt associated with that brings that about, where black women don't want to hear this at all? Because I think from a psychological standpoint, I think that's what it looks like. You know what I mean? Because if the conversation's looking like you're going to have to take some responsibility for what's going on with your daughters, they don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying.
And as a black woman, you know, I think your opinion is important.
And it could be very true with that. Like, because, you know, of course, most women want to say like, oh no, I did this and I did my job. I did what I was supposed to do.
Is there anyone that is taking responsibility for what's going on with these children?
Of course we have to, if our girls are out of control, of course we have to stop back and be like, wait a minute, you know, there could be some things that maybe I didn't do. Or maybe I could have done a little different.
Because from what I see, nobody's taking responsibility for this.
You know, and we can, you know, go back and try to correct and help our daughters then. Like,
I mean, it's like the Twilight Zone to me. You know, like I'm sitting watching the behavior of young black girls, and it's like it's a total 180 from what I've seen for majority of my life. And nobody is saying nothing. Everybody's just like, that's just how they are. And it's like, no, that's not how they're supposed to be. But listen, let's read another comment. So, Miss Tayborn, all right, 30 seconds. We'll read her comment real quick. Miss Tayborn says, I lost your comment. Let me pull your comment back up. Okay, she says the shows that are on TV with our black women are a contributor because we always are shown as angry black women. Very true. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be back, and we're going to discuss that comment. Stay tuned. Black by the Man Radio Show. I'm your boy, Brother Mike.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. And you might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing!
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monique, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing!
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
It's time for a flashback.
Now, I'm not gonna say all Aries don't know, but
It's just the one you had. That was
this
just.
particular one.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Busy, busy me. So, anyway...
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. My friends keep commenting on my comment. Oh, there's another one. So many comments on my comment.
Oh, I can't wait to watch TV tonight. Playoffs!
Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Pew, pew. Wait, Mom, what? Huh?
What? Hold
What'd
on.
you say? Wait a second, what?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Just a Bit Outside radio show.
There is one glaring stat that I read about while watching the games over the weekend. New York Yankees went 22 straight innings with at least one strikeout.
Really?
That's a major league record for the postseason.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting statistic.
It is, you know, and then when you think about it, it's like, okay, you know, that, to me, that's like a big reason why, you know, they're losing right now.
driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All right, we are back. Welcome back to the Black by Demand radio show. We are talking about behavior patterns of young black women that we feel has changed over the years and not for the better. I know you say you don't do a lot of social media, but like what was the worst that you think you've seen on social media with the behavior of young black women? Anything stick out in your mind?
Probably just their mouths.
Their mouths?
Their mouths and attitudes.
Let me tell you the worst one I saw.
Okay.
Right? I saw one where the little girl was being bullied, right, by these other black girls. She didn't want to fight, right? So they kept on walking behind her, you know what I mean, bullying her. And see, that's what I'm saying. Young girls wasn't doing that back then. Not to that level, right? So, you know, they're walking behind her, they're bullying her, they're trying to get her to fight. She doesn't want to fight the girl, right? So the girl eventually hauls off and hits her. Well, that was it. So once she got hit, little girl took her backpack off, they start fighting. Well, the girl that was being bullied started winning the fight. So she's whipping this other little girl's tail, right? So, of course, all the friends that was with the bully is now pulling the little girl off of the bully, right? So the bully gets mad. They break him up. The little girl tries to leave, go on about her business. The bully goes and grabs a beer bottle that was on the ground. She takes the beer bottle and busts it upside the head of the young lady. The bottle hit her and broke open, and it cut her jugular vein. So the little girl stepped back and she held her neck, and she was standing there, and all the other little girls was like, yeah, that's what you get, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, she just dropped. All the blood just ran up out of her body. Now she's laying on the ground with her jugular vein cut. It appeared that she died. I don't know if she did, but it appeared that way because you only got a couple of minutes. And that was the worst one I saw. And like, I couldn't believe it. And people were in the feed saying, you know, R.I.P. baby girl, so forth and so on. And it sticks out in my mind because it's such an example of what can happen when you think it's just going to stay at some fight level. Like, I truly believe that little girl died. I watched the life go up out of her body. She just dropped to the ground. And all the other little girls walked away. She was laying on the ground with all of her, you know, blood leaking out of her. It was horrible.
That's very horrible.
It was absolutely horrible. So that's what I mean. Like, you don't know what level it's going to go to. And, you know, these adults that post these videos, it's like how would you like to go on Facebook and see a video of your child getting banked by 3-4 other little girls, and they videotaping it, and they doing it on your front step, halfway in your door, dragging your child out there? Like, this is out of control. And it's like nobody is saying nothing. Everybody's worried about all this other stuff that really, you know, shouldn't take precedence over like some of the violence that we're experiencing now coming from our young ladies. We already had to deal with it with the boys. Now we got to deal with it with the young ladies. It's disturbing. It's very disturbing. So I'm just trying to figure out, when did they get so violent? Like, what happened? Where's this anger coming from? You know?
Yeah, I mean, the anger is definitely coming from something.
Yeah, what is it coming from?
And it started a while back with them getting this violent because, you know, the girls started crying, you know, the razor blades around, cutting.
I mean, they fight
cutting
boys.
Each other's faces up.
You can go on Facebook any day and catch a video of a little girl in school trying to fight a boy.
I don't know.
Like, what happened to girls understanding you can't beat no boy? You know what I'm saying? And you see the boys, go ahead, shorty, go ahead. You know what I mean? They be trying, shorty, go ahead, stop playing.
Yeah.
And it's like the girl will take that for weakness. And then she hauls off and punches him in his face. Now he black out. He get up, you know, and do her real dirty. You know what I'm saying? He black out, do her real dirty. So I'm saying, what happened? And why are not, when, like in that situation, why aren't the other girls saying like, no, stop, don't hit him, stop?
And they should be.
They should be.
And I don't know. I mean, because
they should be.
I mean, all women, I can't even say all women know to teach their daughters not to be fighting no man.
Well, you know, Whoopi Goldberg got in trouble for that.
Not to even put your hands on a man, because you definitely don't want a man putting their hands.
You definitely don't want that.
So,
and if you believe
I don't
that
know
because
why
you're a woman, you have a right to hit a man, and he shouldn't hit you back, you're being foolish. You're being foolish. You know, like, all men are not going to take that. All boys definitely ain't going to take it. You talking about being young and ill-tempered. You know, like a grown man might deal with a woman, you know, punching him in his chest, beating on him or something. You know, we'll just get you up off of him. But when you get into, like, slapping people in the face and punching them in the face, which is what a lot of these little young girls be doing, like, them boys are not having that.
I don't know what woman want to even fight a man. Like,
right. A black woman.
Don't no queens want to be out here fighting no man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You know, I love my sisters, but I'm in touch with reality. Okay, so I want to go back to Cheryl's comment where she says the shows on TV, you know, with black women are contributor. See, I think that's true. See, I think, you know, if you have it already popping off, right, with these young ladies, and they becoming violent, and, you know, they oversexed, sexing too early, things like that, right?
Right.
And then that same little girl watches TV, and she sees these grown black women with money, and they just as ratchet as she is. Fight at the drop of a dime, arguing over petty stuff. He said, she said. See, I think the powers that be are doing that on purpose. It's reinforcing to these little girls that it's cool to be this way. See, Nene's like this. You understand what I mean? Nene don't take no trash, you know what I'm saying? And Nene from round the way like I was, you know what I mean? She a stripper, and, you know, and it's like, it's showing them that this behavior is acceptable, and it's not. And it's so bad with these shows, and don't get it twisted. I watch some of these shows, right? I'm a victim like everybody else. It's entertainment, right? But it does sadden me to see what be going on, because even in the midst of the shows, whether it's Housewives of Atlanta, Basketball Wives of LA, it's always the females, and the men don't be getting into it. Every now and then there's a scene with men, you know, Peter and what's his face's boyfriend, the crazy dude, you know, but you get what I'm saying. They are purposely showing this to these young ladies to make them think, see, even when you got money and success, you can still be inappropriate, ratchet, right? Thought. All these little words that they got, right? Because you got people like Nene, and what she say? I'm a rich bitch. See? That's not good for little girls to see that. Because first of all, you're telling the whole world not to call you a bitch. But then you glorified when, you know, your sister call you a bitch. Or, you know, Nene says, I'm a rich bitch. You know, so I believe television is like the icing on the cake. They already was in that mode. But now that they can look at grown women old enough to be their mother, who will have the same mentality, you know what I mean, and want to be, you know, hostile and, you know, confrontational, it sends a message that this is okay.
Well, that's like my point that I was, trying to make earlier when I was talking about with social media, TV, and the music. By the time a parent do get that one-on-one time, you know, with the female, with all of this against you, I mean, it's a challenge.
It's definitely a challenge, but are they even accepting the challenge?
So,
you know what I mean? Because when you, like you said, they won't even let you tell them anything that the child did. You know, I remember when my son was probably about 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It was some twin little girls that lived across the street, and the one twin liked him. And you know how kids are. She would come over and, you know, do stuff to him. So one time, you know, it kind of got out of control. She tried to kick him in his private area. Well, she did. She kicked him in his private area, and then she, like, slapped him in his head. Now, they had an older brother. So the little girls, I guess out of fear that, you know, somebody was going to tell their parents,
right,
they ran home and, of course, blamed it on my son. So the mother comes over, you know, she banging on the door. I answer the door, and she's, you know, she's irate. I want to talk to you. Are you his father? I'm like, yeah, I'm his father. Well, you better tell him stop putting his hands on my little girl. Just blah, blah, blah. I'm like, ma'am, calm down. I ain't calming down for shit. You know, she's going crazy, right? And I'm like, listen, your children are lying to you, okay? She hit my son, right?
Right.
She didn't want to buy it. Well, the older brother was there, right? So I said, well, why don't you ask your son? Your son was there for the whole thing. He put his head down. And she like, did your sister hit him? And he like, Mom. And she like, boy, answer me. And then he finally says, yes. And looks over at me. I'm sitting there looking at her. So then she says, so you saw your sister kick him in his private area? Little boy said, yeah, Mom. She kicked him, and then she hit him upside his head. And what did he do? Like, she could not accept that her daughters did this. She kept trying to get it on to my son. Well, what did he do after that? Did he hit her back? And the brother was like, no, Mom, I wouldn't even let him hit her back, even if he tried. You know what I mean? Like, no, he didn't hit him back. And then she's just sitting there looking at me. And I'm just looking at her. And she's like, oh, well, I mean, I'm going to deal with them, you know, when they get to the house. But I didn't know, you know, that she did that. And I'm like, look, miss, none of us know what our kids are doing when we're not around. Right. So we have to keep an open mind that maybe our child did do that. But see, to me, subconsciously, if you admit your child did it, there's a piece of guilt that's associated with that because it's your child. Right. And I think a lot of us are scared to face that. You get what I mean? Because it's saying, I slipped up somewhere. Right. Now, look, I'll tell you a funny one, right? My son was in middle school. I never heard my son cuss a day in his life when he was in middle school, right? So I get called over there one day, and long story short, they were saying that he wrote this foul message on the board. And it was like, F you know, B-ass-N, such and such, right? And I'm sitting there looking. They're like, yeah, you know, your son wrote that, right? Now, as a parent, I'm in my head thinking, I've never even saw my kids even use, my kid even use that word before, right? But I know the reality is, I know who he is when he's home. I don't know who he is when he goes to school, right? You know, so I said, I've never seen him talk like that before, right? Right. And I'm thinking to myself, where would he even get that language from? Me? You know, he's heard me say that before. You get what I'm saying? I had to face that reality, even though I never saw none of that behavior when he was at home. But he went to school and he repeated so. And I remember talking to him afterwards and saying, do you even know what that means? And he's like, no. I was like, oh my God, I'm a horrible parent. You get what I'm saying? Like, I knew he got that from me, right? Even though once we found out the whole story, it turns out it was like another kid that like dared him to write it. But I'm just saying the fact that he even wrote that. I cannot now say, oh, there's no way he got that from me. Nah, he did. You understand what I mean? Like, I was guilty of, you know, cussing around my son. You know what I mean? So I took it as a lesson. You know what I mean? Like, I got to watch what I say. You know, he was still young. You know what I mean? He was only, he might have been 9. You know what I mean? But it made me realize, like, okay, so they tend to model what they hear you say and do more than just what you telling them not to do. You know, so I kind of grew from it, right? But I was able to accept it. In that particular case, it was actually, the vice principal was actually a black man. You know, so him and I had a conversation, and, you know, he did make me feel better. He's like, look, I know your son. He been in here, you know what I mean? He's like, he don't talk like that on the normal. They definitely convinced him to do it, but he did it, you know? And I'm like, touche. I'll have to speak with him about that. And I think that's missing today. You know what I mean? Like, the minute someone's told, it's a possibility your child did this, just go off.
Because everybody's children are angels.
Everybody's children are angels. They all get good grades.
No bad kids. Wrong.
They don't do any wrong. So I'm just a man. I like to deal with reality.
It's always the other kids' fault.
It's always the other kids, and of course, your child's going to say that, but you got to be realistic to find out what part did your kid play in this. And 9 out of 10, your kid's usually not completely innocent.
Yeah. And of course, your kid's never going to lie and tell you, they never did that. Of course, they're always going to tell the truth.
Right.
So, of course, you always believe them when they come home and tell you something, and you go straight up to school and just automatically start fussing out the teacher or the principal.
So as far as like social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
What can we do? As far as what our children are seeing on social media, you understand what I mean? Because when they do see the fights and all that, I think it encourages them. It encourages them at a minimum to think it's okay. No big deal, right?
The only thing we can do, we just have to start teaching our kids to be young ladies and young men. We just have to start at younger ages.
Yeah, because I believe that, go ahead.
I don't think we can take social media away. We sure can't
take
television away.
Right.
We can't take music away. So what else can we do?
Could we push for restrictions of not allowing these type of videos to be posted?
I mean, why? We're going to push for restrictions on social media, then we're going to TV, then we're going to start...
TV, I think is out. But social media, the reason why I say social media is because social media does have restrictions. They do have restrictions when it comes to certain videos. They won't allow it to be posted. So I'm saying, why do they allow videos of our children being violent towards each other? Why is that so easy to be posted?
Okay, you're saying restrict those videos?
Right. Like, maybe we should push to not allow Facebook to even post these videos of these children being violent towards each other.
I think they should be restricted. I don't think
you get what I'm saying? Because they're allowing it to be posted.
Yeah, I don't think we should be able to look online and see somebody getting that jugular cut. Like, that's ridiculous.
That's crazy, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what I mean. That maybe we should look into that. As a community of people, can we somehow get these videos from being posted, and at least that'll cut down a little bit on the social media end of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because it's entertaining for some people. It's not entertaining for me. You know what I mean? But some people it's entertaining. What about school violence? I just watched a video the other day where young black girl got into it with a teacher. Teacher was a black woman, and running her mouth, threatening her, all that type of stuff. Teacher was telling her, get out of my classroom, kicking her out. Well, when she left out the classroom, she took a book and she threw it at the teacher and it hit her. And let me tell you, that black woman wore her ass out. She went over there and tore that little girl up. Like, the students had to get between them. You know what I mean? And I felt bad for her, because I know as a black woman, she's at the pinnacle of disrespect. Like, how dare you? You know what I mean? Like, as I'm old enough to be your mother, and you gonna run your mouth and disrespect me, and then you gonna hit me with a book, But then the flip side is, the school, she's probably gonna lose her job. You know what I mean? All the parents gonna be like, she's out of control. Like, nobody wants to say the kids are out of control. I mean, I truly believe that was her natural instinct. You understand what I mean? And it was actually a Baltimore video. It was a Baltimore video. And I'm saying that little girl don't understand, like, the teacher, like, shorty, she from the city too.
And not only that,
I'm saying, like, you honestly thought you was just about to bust her in the head with a book and nothing was gonna happen.
And not only that, I mean, you just don't know how long the teacher had been dealing with it either.
Right.
That just could have been her breaking point.
Could have been her breaking point. You know what I mean? Because that would break anybody.
Because
a child hitting you in the head with a book?
Yes, and you can just imagine if you have to continually deal with bad kids
all the time,
every day, with
all the time,
disrespectful mouths and all these attitudes every day continuously, and nobody's doing anything about it. Like, yes, you will come to a breaking point.
Right.
Where it just...
I think they need to have a little bit more leniency, towards these teachers when they snap. Hey, if it was up to me, I'd let the teachers loose. I'd let them loose.
I think these parents just need to get these kids under control. Like, goodness gracious, how difficult can it be?
I agree.
Like, why are they making it look this difficult and seem like this difficult? Like,
accountability, right?
Yes.
We're not having a high level of accountability. See, my take on it is, I think first, we have to, let me read Cheryl's comment. Cheryl Taborn says, back in the day, she would have gotten the paddle. Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Kids nowadays know what they can get away with because of this society.
We was just talking about the paddle at work last night.
Yeah. They had the paddle back in the day for us.
One girl was naming her mom had a brown one. I said my mom had a green one. Like, where are the paddles?
Well, the school would paddle you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got in a certain level of trouble, the school was allowed to paddle you. The principal or vice principal would give you a couple whacks.
Yeah,
you
they
know,
did.
maybe you got 3, maybe you got 5.
They did. When I got the wax, I always got them across my hand. But you got them.
I think we as a people, need to get back to our culture on how we raise our kids. Even though I know society is trying to convince us of something different and, threatening us with CPS and all that. But, like, that element's always been there. That never stopped us.
But, but still, if you talk to some people today, they're going to be like, their kids are fine. They think just because, their daughters are, going to college and doing all this great stuff, they ignore all the attitudes and all the bad behavior.
Yeah, that's not good. I think we need to get back to our culture, the way that we discipline our children, and we have to have these type of conversations for those who are not in the loop so they can develop an understanding that society is helping to shape these children into being misfits and disobedient and disrespectful because they're stopping you as a parent from doing what might naturally come to you.
And my question anyway is, like, where did all this bad behavior come from? Like, this is horrible.
I just want to know what responsibility that we have as a black community, as parents, and what we can do to try to, make changes to get back. It's a scripture in the Bible that says go back to the ancient ways. And I think it applies here. Like, we really need to go back to the ancient ways because when we were doing our normal culture and disciplining our children and making our children have respect, they weren't acting the way these youngins act today. They used to make us say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am, all the time.
Okay, we still say yes,
we
sir,
still
and
say
yes,
it.
ma'am.
Still say it. Still talk to your parents or your grandmother. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We're grown and we're walking around saying yes, sir, and yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And your kids aren't even saying yes, sir, and yes, ma'am.
They don't even say yes. They be like, what?
That itself is a problem. So what in the world is going on?
Yeah. What is going on? So accountability, we feel, is not being taken on by the parents the way it should be. What about the rest of the family? Now, let me tell you what I mean when I say that.
Okay.
Remember, like, as black people, we all knew, like, the family members who try to get away from not beating their kids. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you be in there and the kid be acting up, you be ready to go in, and then your sister be like, she don't beat him. So don't even. You like, I'm about to whip his ass. Like, no, he can't handle it. He ain't been going through that. So what about family members? Because like when I was young, you could get it from the family. You could get it from the neighbors. Everybody would discipline you.
I'm going to tell you something about that. Like, in my experiences, those same parents that's not taking accountability now for their kids are the same parents who won't allow nobody else to discipline.
Isn't that horrible?
Their child. Because that these grandmothers be ready to take a whip to these kids' butts, and the parents be like, no.
Listen.
What are you talking about?
Look, I was in the barbershop one time, right? And the little boy was in there with his grandmother. And he got to acting up. So the grandmother took him into the bathroom, and it was a small barbershop, right? She's in there giving this little boy the business. He in there screaming and hollering. And look, it's the funniest thing ever, right? So he's in there screaming and hollering, and I don't know, grandma, I know. And she in there whack, 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 wording him out, right? She come out the bathroom, her wig is crooked. She breathing hard, you know what I'm saying? And got, drops the sweat on her forehead, and she take him by his arm and just push him forward. And she's sitting there and she's talking to the owner. She's like, yeah, whew, Lord, child, Eddie, his mother let him get away with stuff. But, I ain't letting him get away with that, right? So we like, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. Well, to the shock of all of us, she came out that bathroom just to get a breather. Right. It was hot in there. Mm-hmm. She stood out there with us for about 3 minutes and told that boy, come on, I ain't done with you, come on, and took him back in that bathroom. Mr. Eddie looked at me and said, oh, no, Mike. I said, boy, she is wearing him out. And, like, that's the difference. You understand me? Like, she didn't even feel like what she did was enough. And, like, she told us, like, his mother don't be beating him. And she know I didn't raise her like that. Right. So it was almost like she was about to give this boy the ass whipping to cover all the ass whippings that he never got. That he did not get. You know what I mean? Like, I started feeling sorry for him. Like, oh, man. She made him pull his pants down and everything. I said, boy, that's old school right there. That's old school.
I'm sorry, but I'm one of those moms, like, who had to stop my mom. Like, okay, Mom, that's enough. Like,
they'll tear you up.
You can no longer discipline my kids.
Right.
Like,
She didn't want to make the adjustments, right?
After, like, the busted mouths and the busted nose, I mean, that was
he
it.
He said, this is too much, Bob. It's too much.
Like, at this point,
let's get back to the switches. Switches and race car tracks.
No, because my mom firmly believes if it comes out the mouth, it's going in the mouth.
Oh, well, that was their thing.
Yes.
That was their thing.
If you bring it out the mouth, it's going to come back to you in the mouth.
It's going to come back in the mouth.
You better watch what's coming out of your mouth. And I guess that's why I watch what comes out of my mouth now.
I had my mouth washed out with soap when I was a kid.
I had my mouth washed out with soap.
What? I had my mouth washed out with soap.
What are you talking
for
about?
Cussing. You know what I mean? For cussing. Yeah, that was their thing. If it's your mouth that's giving me problems, it's your mouth I'm gonna deal with.
I got caught smoking one time and had to eat the whole pack of cigarettes.
Ooh.
I had to eat it. Because my mom was like, don't wait to die. You kill yourself now. You want to die,
do
die
it right
now. I had to eat all the cigarettes. I never smoked since. Like, that was it. Like,
yeah, times have changed.
What are you talking about? The parents did not play back then. So I understand if you had to, like, take that discipline away from, some parents, because some parents was just,
they went overboard with it,
because they said these kids today are out of control
and they trying to get them back quick.
Get them back real quick.
We're gonna take our final break. Stay tuned. Black by the Band Radio Show. It's your boy brother Mike with my co-host Miss Lovely Janice.
Oh my goodness.
Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Exposed Radio.
Let me do that.
There's certain things for everybody.
Yeah, like,
you know what I mean?
There's a time and a place for everything. Maybe if I'm sitting down reading a book and then I'm like, all right, cool. Let me throw this Lupe on, get this real lyrical going on, and maybe I see a whole nother side of something. But if I'm sitting down with a bottle, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it. Like, you might turn on the right Lupe song, you feel me? And because I'm drunk, I'm going to get lit for it. Right. But, yeah, for the most part.
Nah. What's up, guys? It's your boy, Shepsworth Bentley. And make sure you guys check out Homegrown Radio every Sunday, 7 to 8 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com. It's new, fresh, Baltimore radio.
Hey, there's my son. You've been in your room all morning.
Hey, Dad.
Matt, what's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Oh, well, it's just sort of.
I have been playing my video games and electronic games for so many hours.
Uh-huh. Well, it sounds like it might be time for you to take a break, or...
Hello, Dad.
Susan?
I have been watching TV and text messaging all morning. Yay, electronics. Yay, yay, yay.
Guys, I think it's about time to get in the car and take a little trip.
Maybe see some trees, some green things.
What are these green things you speak of?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Get out to the forest and discover the wonders of nature with your family, just like Blue, Jewel, and the whole Rio flock.
Let the kids connect to their roots. It's going to be so much fun.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All right, we are back. Welcome back to the Black Bottom Man Radio Show. It's your boy, Brother Mike. So today, me and my lovely co-host, the lovely Miss Janice, have been discussing behavior patterns amongst young black women and just things that we need to, pay attention to and, kind of try to figure out what we can do to change some of it, because we all unanimously agree that, some of these behavior patterns are not great. So my conclusion, I think as parents, we have to recognize the society that we live in now and how things are going, and recognize what the powers that be are trying to do when they're trying to teach you that disciplining your child is not the way to do it. That's their method. You get what I'm saying? Don't try to come to my culture and change my method and say you should do it the way we do it. No. Your kids have always been wild. That's why they eat Tide Pods. You understand what I'm saying? And you try to make our kids wild by telling us it's wrong the way that we raise our kids. So I don't agree with that. How do you feel as far as your closing remarks on that?
I just feel like we just need to start getting back to disciplining our kids when they're younger.
Right.
So the older they get, they won't keep running into all of these problems here.
All of these problems, right. I agree.
And even for the older ones now that's still having a little bit of issues, you can just kind of talk them through that. Just kind of talk to
Take responsibility. Take responsibility. Understand that the society we live in is not going to produce a child that's an upstanding citizen, I guess they call it, within this society. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, you have to do that. You have to put those values into that child, and you have to be strong enough as a parent to say no to certain things. No, you're not getting those. No, you're not going just because all of them going. I don't care. I saw those girls you hang with. I don't want you around them. See, black people, we kind of scared to tell our kids we don't want them around certain other kids. Right. But like other people not scared of that. They'll tell you straight up, I don't want my kids hanging around them. Right. And as you grow as an adult, especially as a parent, and you have children, you will develop that understanding, because you will understand, like, I'll give you an example. Okay. I read a book one time, and I believe it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But anyway, the guy was in there, and he was a rich guy, and he was given reasons why he doesn't want his kids hanging around kids that ain't rich. Okay, so one of the main reasons was, he was like, if I allow my child to hang around your child in a public school, my child is going to pick up on the bad spending habits that your child has. I never looked at it that way. You know what I'm saying? I guess because I ain't never been rich, right? But as much as I initially took it like, oh, that's some bullshit. You know what I mean? But then when I thought about it, like, he has a right to say that. He's saying, listen, if I don't want my kid picking up on the bad habits that you allowed your kid to pick up on. Right. Now, see, as black people, we're scared to do that because we think it's a bad thing if we say, nah, you know what? It could be your cousin. I don't want you hanging around your cousin.
We shouldn't be afraid to do that.
You should not be afraid to do that, because at the end of the day, you are trying to, steer your child in the right direction. And if dealing with certain other kids is going to hamper that, you shouldn't do it. And, when I read about what Dude said, it's really true, because think about this. When it comes to, like, we're fashionable people, I don't have shame about that. I don't think we should feel shameful for being fashionable people, because, you have other races that like to make us feel shameful for that and say, oh, they like to show off. You know what I mean? No, it's not always showing off. Maybe we just like looking fly. You know what I mean? Maybe we like looking a certain way,
we like
right?
looking good.
Exactly. We like looking good. That's a part of our culture, right? But, you know, of course, there is extremities in it. You know, you got people who will buy things that they know they can't afford, right? So that's what this guy is saying. I don't want my child seeing your child purchase a bunch of things that they shouldn't have at that age and really can't afford, and that's going to make my child want it. I want my child around some children who understand money and the value of a dollar. And as, like I said, as much as it kind of bothered me when I read it, but when I rethought it, I said, okay, I get where he's coming from. I get it. I get it.
And it is a good point.
I don't condone it, but I get it.
But it's a good point. And you have to remember, we do have trouble with things that make sense.
Yes. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Do we? You know, logic is not always our friend. No. You know, logic, rationale, and reasoning, right? Very emotional people. You know, we're very emotional, but sometimes we got to think things through a little bit better and not let our emotions, you know, get a hold of, you know, how we're going to respond. And I mean, I'm just as guilty as that as anybody else, right?
We just don't go by logic. We don't go by facts. We just go by what we think.
Yeah, what we think.
And what we believe.
Our emotions. We go off of our emotions. So, yeah, I just think we got to take control of our children. You know, if you want your child to be a certain way, you know, take control of your child. Stop living in this world where I'm just going to let my child do whatever they really want to do. No, that's a child. You can't do that. You understand what I mean? Because he might want to be a drug dealer and get killed when he's 22.
I remember when my 13-year-old when my oldest turned 13, and she told me that day that she was 13 now. She grown. She can do what she wants. Like, I can't tell her how to get her hair anymore.
Wow. See, that's what I'm saying. You know, so we got habits where we let these kids kind of do what they want. I used to always wonder when I would see like actors, right? And you'd see a certain actor, and you familiar with this actor, right? From whatever show you watch them on. Right. And then all of a sudden you see them one night on like a late night talk show, and like they're on there playing the guitar or they're playing the piano. You understand what I mean? Or, you know, and I would look like, wow, I didn't even know that he knew how to do that. But then I learned as I got older, see, their parents put them into certain things. See, we put our kids into stuff, but most of the time it's sports. But there are other parents that do the exact opposite. They make their kid go to ballet, go to piano class, learn how to play a little bit of guitar, so forth and so on. They know it's rounding that child out. And we tend to just, you know, I'll let him do whatever he wants to do.
Whatever he wants to do.
So my most classic example for that, right, for all the sports fans, is that Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, both quarterbacks in the NFL. Right. Okay, their father was a quarterback in the NFL. It's not an accident, folks. See what I'm saying? It's not an accident. That is not an accident. Nobody's going to tell me that they just said, oh, we want to be quarterbacks too. Like, kids have their own mind, but somewhere along the line, their father said, no, you're going to be a quarterback in the NFL, and so are you. Right. And a matter of fact, you're both going to play in the Super Bowl against each other. So there's nothing wrong with taking control if you have a child that you feel like is not going in the direction you want. But at a minimum, I think you should take control of teaching them respect. You know what I mean? And and to be a representation of you. What happened to kids understanding you are a representation of your parents? You know, you out here acting crazy and wilding out and all that, that makes your parents look bad. Right. You know? So that's my take on that. But listen, I want to end this on a good note because I don't want this to seem like a bashing session, because it's not. This is a session of concern, you know, for our young black women. So let me say this about young black women. Young black women lead in education. There are more young black women receiving degrees today than there are any other people. All right, so let it be known. We know that there are young black girls out here doing their thing, and I want to give them some shine, but their shine I couldn't give as much to because they're not the problem. I want to deal with, you know, other folks that, you know, we see as being, you know, the problem. And that's pretty much it. It's a wrap. This has been the Black Bottom Man Radio Show. I'm your boy, Brother Mike. Appreciate y'all tuning in with the lovely Miss Janice. I want to thank her for coming out, hanging out, and co-hosting with me today. I needed a little bit of company.
You're welcome.
And hopefully, you know, we got you guys stimulated, thinking about some things, because that's what the show's all about. Black Lives, Black Matters, you know, black opinions. You know, we just want to talk about issues that we find to be relevant for us. So catch us on the next episode next Monday. And for all of our audience, we do take suggestions on topics. We do. So if you have a suggestion for a topic that you would like us to discuss on the Black by Demand radio show, you can email at blackbydemand4U @gmail. So that's blackbydemand4U @gmail. And as usual, I'm your boy, Brother Mike. I'll catch y'all on the flip side. You already know. Black side. Peace.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live united.